Hi, thanks for joining me to talk a little bit about our internal senses. So most of us know that we have senses, senses like seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling, and so forth. Well, those senses orient us to the external world of sights and sounds and smells, and they orient us to the world outside of ourselves and to the physical plane. So these external senses help us navigate through the external world and find our way. But in addition to those senses, we also have a set of internal senses. And these senses help orient us to the internal world and all that's going on there and help us navigate around. And it turns out that these internal senses play a really big role in our physical health. So what are these internal senses? Well, they're things like attention. What you choose to focus your attention on has a big impact on your physical health. So where do you put your attention? Where do you focus your attention? Most of us are just busy living our lives and we don't even think about these things. But it turns out it's very important to pay attention to what we pay attention to. In addition to attention, there's also something called intention. And this is like attention that's souped up and it's infused with will. There are hundreds of research studies that verify the incredible potency and power of human intention. Our intention actually impacts the physical world in a whole variety of ways. And it, in addition, impacts our physical health and well-being. So it's important to pay attention to what we're intending. Another internal sense is something called self-talk. Now, we all do it. We all talk to ourselves. Sometimes we all answer ourselves and we have long conversations, huge dialogues. And that internal sense of self-talk plays a huge role in our health. How do you talk to yourself? Are you nice to you? You know, most of us say things to ourselves that we would never dream of saying to another person. So it's very important to pay attention to how we talk to ourselves. Another internal sense is the sense of visualization. And this refers to the pictures that we form inside our heads or the movies that we play to ourselves. And once again, they play a huge role in our health. So what kind of pictures are you forming? What kinds of images? What kinds of movies are playing inside? It's very important to pay attention to this and to alter them if you can, to bring them into alignment with what you really want. So far we've talked about attention, intention, self-talk, and visualization. But there's another internal sense that I want to mention, and that is the sense called self-sensing. And this refers to our ability to sense in to what's going on inside our bodies. So we can self-sense what's going on inside our lungs, what's going on inside our digestive system. We can sense what's going on in specific organs, or we can pay attention to what's going on in broader areas of our body. And we can scan our bodies, and we can sense what's going on in various regions. So that's the capacity for self-sensing. In addition, an internal sense, a very interesting internal sense, is called self-observation. And it's just that. It's our ability to observe all of these different things that I've talked about. I can observe or pay attention to what I'm paying attention to. I can observe what my intention is. I can observe my self-talk. I can observe my visualization and the pictures that I'm forming inside my head. and so forth and so on. So that is the sense of self-observation, a very important internal sense. And the last sense that I want to talk about might be kind of surprising, because we don't typically think about it as being an internal sense. What am I talking about? Well, it's the sense of time. Yes, time is actually an internal sense. Of course, externally we have clocks and calendars and all kinds of things to keep track of time. But time itself, where does it exist? Does it exist out there, or does it exist in here? Think about it. We've all had the experience of, for example, sitting in the dentist chair when the drill is going, and 5 minutes can seem like 5 years in that situation, if we're uncomfortable with it. But then, if we run into an old friend that we haven't seen for a long time and we hang out together, we can luxuriate in time, and 5 minutes can seem more like 5 weeks, especially if we're in the arms of a loved one. So time is actually very fluid and changeable, and it has a lot to do with how we experience it. So I say time is an internal sense, which is actually a very empowering notion, because if we feel that time is starting to speed up, we can pay attention to what's going on inside of us with our internal senses. And if we feel like we're very speeded up, we can make changes and efforts to actually slow down what's going on inside of us. And that can help time to actually expand. Give it a try.